everyone, my name is Sam and thanks for checking out this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and give the video a thumbs up. Now I wanted to start like a little inconsistent series, I guess we should say, on my channel. I have a perspective of being a librarian, and I've noticed there are a lot of questions that pop up on a lot of book communities that a lot of people just are generally unaware or misinformed about librarians and what exactly libraries do, which is kind of surprising, kind of sad, considering we all love books. So I wanted to start the series, probably going to be calling it like Rambling Librarian, because some of these topics really do get me like ranting. And I wanted to focus on a lot of these misconceptions and just try to keep people, even if it's only a couple of you, a little bit more informed about libraries. Definitely feel free to comment in the video, this one and then any that come in the future, about topics that you're interested in. That way I can help, inform, a couple extra people about a topic that they're interested in. Now, I am kind of a newbie. I've only graduated university in the last couple of years, so I don't know everything. But I have a general background, either through my experiences or coworkers' experiences or people that I meet at conferences and professional development, so I can give some stories and tidbits along the way, as well as any references that you may need if you're looking into doing certain things. So I thought a good way to start this, based on just like general introduction, as well as the fact that I've seen this question an awful lot in a lot of book clubs and groups that I am actually in online with thousands of people in them. So this video is going to talk about how to become a librarian, as well as what kind of librarian you can be. Yes, you can be more than just librarian. There is a ton of different types of librarians. Now, I want to preface this whole video that if you have a specific library that you want to work at, you need to contact them and find out what requirements they generally have for job postings, or honestly just take a look at a bunch of library job postings. Now, I'm also coming at this from a Canadian perspective. I seriously cannot emphasize enough, though, that you need to contact your own library if you want. If you live in Washington, contact the Washington Library or look at their job postings to see exactly what they require of a librarian. Your life will also be a million times easier if you are willing to move geographically, so do keep that in mind. Also remember that libraries are generally, there's a handful of exceptions to this. Libraries are government-funded institutions. You are not going to be rolling around in the dough in this job. You go into it for a love of reading and literature and educating people. Only job postings I have ever seen in Canada, because I live in Canada, that are like over $80,000 a year or so is normally if you're in like Nunavut working for a federal institution. And that is because a 24-pack of Coke up there is like $50, just a 24 case of Coca-Cola, and it's expensive living up there, so that is generally why. Also be aware that libraries are generally really underfunded. Either, some of them, they apply for grants and, they've got a name recognition out there, or they've got a support in city council, so they get that funding. It's generally not how most libraries function. I just need to make it totally clear that there is a difference between being a page, a cert clerk, and a professional librarian, okay? That term, that label there, professional librarian, I have an education background in this and several years of it. That does not mean all library staff are professional librarians. Some of them, they've graduated high school and this is just their full-time permanent job. Some people kind of trip and stumble into it. They've gone into, business and communications and they end up, falling into the library world. But professional librarians normally have at least 2 degrees. Yes, you heard me right. 2 degrees. Now, how do you become a professional librarian? My path took me 6 years, okay? 6 years of university. So I completed a 4-year Bachelor's of Arts program focusing on history with honors at Brock University. That school amounted to about $40,000, but with tuition and extra student fees and all that stuff. That is not including cost of living. During that time, I volunteered for a couple hours a week at my university special collections and archives, which is where I found out that I wanted to go into this field. Be aware that some universities have union agreements with their staff that may not be an option. So you may have to look at a municipal or a citywide archive or library to see if any of them have any opportunities for volunteering. Immediately graduating this degree, I spent 2 years at Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia completing my MLIS. That is the abbreviation for Masters of Information and Library Studies and Sciences. I've seen it used as both. But any job posting for professional librarians will require you to have an MLIS degree. Check to make sure this degree is certified by the American Library Association. This just means they have courses on topics that, abide by general standards. I will link the program that I went to in the description box down below. There are a couple universities that do offer this. There's only one, to my knowledge, in Canada that offers this online, and it is the University of Alberta, but I think the University of San Jose also offers this online. I would emphasize, though, trying to get into a program that offers a job placement. The one at Dalhousie does, you do 100 hours at an institution. So you get a hang of things. You get to make contacts as well, which is the big thing. Dalhousie was also really cool that it offered funding to the libraries on campus to hire, circulation staff. And a lot of the times, just because of our program, they generally hired people from our program. So it's a couple extra hours a week. And again, you get some experience, even if it's just on circulation desk, and you get to kind of go forward from there. I know that surprises a lot of people. People don't realize how much you have to actually do. Honestly, after telling people I'm a librarian, this is the general conversation that follows. Oh, hi, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a librarian, thanks. Oh, wow, librarian. How exactly did you get into that field? I did 6 years of university. 6 years of university to get to read all day? Wow, you got taken for a ride? I'm going to do a whole video on this another time, but librarians don't read all day. I wish I got to read and got paid. That's like the dream job. I wish. Which kind of leads, perfect segue into the second part of this topic. There are a lot of different types of librarians. You can look from province to province or state to state. You can look from each city to different cities, and there are different job titles for essentially like the same job. It's so up in the air, and just like every other field, jobs are morphing and being combined, and some of the jobs are no longer necessary. One of those jobs is a lot of libraries don't really have reference librarians anymore. They have people that will kind of rotate on the reference desk, so if people have questions, they will do that. Some libraries don't even have reference desks anymore. They'll just have people email them or ask staff general questions and expect that as a staff member, you can help people navigate your system. I myself am an e-resources librarian, and I also focus on outreach. So in Alberta, it's set up a little bit differently than a lot of other provinces in Canada. You do not have to hire a professional librarian for your library unless your population served is over 12,000 people, I believe it is. Especially in northern communities where the likelihood of that population is very, very slim. They've kind of come up with a solution so they can hire just people in the community that will be able to, run programs and, check items in and out. Those libraries come together and essentially pay in and create a system. And there are 7 systems in our province. Those systems then hire the professional librarians, such as myself, and then we get to train those libraries. Now, there are a ton of different positions in libraries. Something like being a page or a shelver or, circulation desk assistant. Those people generally don't have professional librarians degrees. They can be fully capable and understanding of what is going on in the library, and they can be incredibly helpful. There are also technicians, which are not professional librarians, but once again, they've done some education. They know how to do cataloging and that kind of stuff. And then there are librarians, the position that I hold. There are a ton of different types of them. You have children's librarians, adult librarians, programming librarians, collection development librarians, teen librarians, outreach librarians. It's, digital librarians. It really is just totally expanding because of how different libraries are becoming. A lot of them are now community centers. We have, the Halifax Public Library in Nova Scotia just opened up a new location in their downtown a couple of years ago. And, it's 5 floors. It's got a coffee shop. There's an opera stage place to have like galas and events. They have, concerts constantly going on. There's music studios in them. Edmonton Public Library has a musical instrument lending program. A lot of libraries are now doing hotspot lending programs. Edmonton as well, I believe, also has social services in their library, so you can go there for, if you're homeless or if you need help for job finding. A lot of libraries are also hosting, financial aid workshops to do, how to do your taxes. A lot of libraries are now doing STEM-focused content on working on science, technology, engineering, and math, and coding. There are libraries doing Comic-Con events. There are really very few limits with libraries, it comes down to funding and who is staffing your institutions. Obviously, institutions with better budgets can generally hire more qualified individuals in professional positions to help promote that stuff. So if your library doesn't have it, that could very well be a limiter, is the budget. I would honestly just really emphasize looking around and talking to librarians. Go to your local library and just ask if someone has a few minutes to sit down, either on their break or when they are off work, to just chat and say you're interested in doing this, because most librarians are extremely happy to help you. From my experience, the hardest part of this whole process was getting into the job field. I think it has something to do with like the climate right now. However, everyone I graduated grad school with, there was about 25 of us that graduated my year, all of us have permanent full-time jobs now. So because of the requirements for education, it's not a flooded field with a bunch of grads. Do your best to try and make yourself stand out, whether that's volunteering or focusing on, specific parts of libraries. We've had a lot in Canada right now, a lot of interest going on Indigenous populations and serving them better. There's also an awful lot of work going into serving the LGBTQ plus community to make sure the libraries are a safe space. Also, if you can go into a undergraduate degree that is not in the humanities field, you will basically always get hired. Also, make sure that you're aware which kind of libraries you want to go into. There are public libraries, there are university and academic libraries, there are, archives and special collections that are, for lawyers' offices or financial institutions and records management. And honestly, just be ready that you're going to have to move around either geographically, as well as you're going to have to take your time. No one really gets hired in their dream job in libraries. I would eventually, love to become like a teen programming librarian, but, you have to wait your turn. I would love to do it in a big city, but, you gotta wait your turn. You have to get years of experience a lot of the time. Sometimes people are able, if you live in a city, to get into libraries as a page, and while you're going to university, slowly move your way up. And when there are job postings going up, some institutions will post certain ones internally before they go externally, or they will just automatically ask staff that they already know that they can trust if they want to get this position. So that's something that you just really need to consider. If you have any questions about this or wanted clarification on anything, make sure to leave a comment down below. I will absolutely reply and take anything into consideration for future episodes. Make sure to check the description box down below for links to all of my social media. If you follow me, I will follow you back.